7. This is the end of day 4 of the Great Ocean Walk. It was a 16k day. It was quite nice, quite cruisy. Dropped in early off Devil's Kitchen campsite, dropped down, and it was just wallaby central. It was really nice across there, lots of wallabies, including one you'll see video of, or you will have seen video of before this. Yeah, I had 5 minutes of video of wallaby just feeding in front of me. He refused to get off the trail until he had his fill. But there was lots. I think there was about 7 wallabies in the first 5k's or so. So a bit of wildlife. It was nice. It was a nice walk across the front of the escarpment there until we got to Princeton. And then Princeton, you just sort of walk across. They've got a nice new bridge in there now, so you can cross over the river and then back up the other side, and then literally you just followed along the escarpment. The top, pretty much, you stayed on the top and looked down at the ocean the whole way as you went along, all the way to the 12 Apostles, effectively. Got busy. You knew you were getting close to the end. It started to get busy, lots of traffic, and it was a really busy day. So the last 3 kilometers was just, yeah, very, very busy. So that wasn't too bad. Finished around 12, I believe. So then I walked down and I did the tourist thing while I was there. I went out, had a look at the sights, mingled with the million people that were there. So that was a lot. But anyway, that was about it. I would have filmed out, but when I was there, but it was just way too busy. So I'm doing it now while I am charging on the way home. It's about, I don't know, 10 in the evening at the moment, so yeah, that's what I'm doing. So I have to say, it's a good walk, and I think that walk actually would benefit from an out and back scenario. So walk, either way, Apostles back to Apollo Bay or the opposite direction, because I think you give up a lot of views when you walk in one direction, unless you turn around and have a good look. I think you leave a lot of views out there, and it's quite a spectacular bit of coast. So I reckon a track would be really nuts to do an out and back on. So people are going the opposite direction. That did happen. So there are people walking it from the Apostles back to Apollo Bay. So there's no reason why you couldn't. And if you do it, you could skip campsites, and you bypass a lot on this walk. So if you set it up properly, you could probably hit the ones that you didn't do on the way back, so, and then cover off most of them. So I think that would have been the way to go. If I'd known, I probably would have done that way myself. So 4 days just wasn't enough. I still have the itch, so yeah, maybe going back might have fixed that. Who knows? But anyway, it was a good walk. Australia's #1 walk. I don't know. I think more the length and where it is what gives it that. It's only 100k's long, and it's apart from 2 places, it's all coastal. So I give it that. But to be fair, look, for the 100k's, 65-70% of it's single trail. 65, I think, is more likely. So, and then the rest of that is either road or fire trail walking. So for me, fire trail walking is not where it is, but it wasn't the worst fire trail. It was decent. And the maintenance is spectacular. The whole trail's maintenance is just nuts. I can't recall one time did I have to get down and go under a downed tree, and that was down a switchback drop in to a beachhead. But that was the only time. Otherwise it was totally clear all the fresh cut trees out of the way, slashed either side, like massively slashed either side, you know, like half a meter each side of the actual walking part of the trail. So, you know, it definitely wasn't wilderness walking, which you got in, you know, places like the Human Hovel and some of the Alp track was wilderness walking almost. So this definitely wasn't it. This is definitely pristine, maintained, and, you know, made to suit almost anybody who wants to walk it. So there are a few people who dropped in and did day, which I met. You know, they'd get dropped in, they'd walk to a certain spot and get back out and, you know, live in luxury, sleep in luxury, and start the next section the next day. So, you know, that is possible. But all the campsites were nice. Tank water is it. You have to do this track via tank water, so they're all at the campsites. So you got to make sure your bottles are full and top up when you pass a campsite, because you're not getting any water until the one after. I think in the whole stretch of 100 k's, I'm across 3 streams that you could have maybe got water from. So there's really nothing there. You have to rely on the tanks, and some of the tanks are low. They're down around the 500 mil high inside, so that's about 1/5 full in a couple of them. Devil's Kitchen, Devil's Kitchen was that way. The tank next to the shelter was only 1/5 full, but there is one up near the toilet which was totally full, because I don't think anyone walks up there to use that one. They just use the one right next to the shelter. So, but that's just how it was. You just had to hit tanks. So I mean, if you get that in your head that you are going to carry water the whole day and just, you know, refill fully at each shelter that you walk past, then you're pretty much okay. So only the third day, when it got high 20s, that it was tough, and I did stop and I did fill, and even the afternoon walk I was almost out of water because it was that hot, and that was between 2 campsites. There was nothing in between. So that's something to look out for. I would think that'd be pretty hard in summer. But yes, it was good. I enjoyed it. 4 days definitely wasn't long enough. I'd like it to have been, yeah, a bit more than that, but that's okay. I can't, yeah, I don't know. I think that's about it. So I mean, look, I think for the walk, the jewel of the walk is from Blanket campsite, Blanket Bay campsite, to Joanna campsite. That is all single trail, and that is all day view single trail. That was just, I mean, it's up and down rollers the whole day, but the views just, and the track itself was just so nice and so, you know, it was spectacular that, you know, people do that in multiple days, that section, but that was the section between those 2 points. If you're going to go down and do a piece, pick a spot between those two, and it was just fantastic. So I mean, after Joanna, that was Road and Fire Trail, so they can have that. I won't go do that bit again, but, you know, I'd happily go and do Joanna and to Blanket Bay, and vice versa. That was the pick of the walk. So yeah, so it was very good. The bit that was, I mean, there's some disappointment there. It looks like towards the Apostles, it looks like somebody is putting in a fence line just to the inland side of the trail, and they have just bulldozed this big giant strip up over the hills, just this big wide, I don't know, 10-15 meter wide strip. They've just decimated the foliage. I mean, it's not even clean. It's just smashed down, and a couple of times they've gone offline and actually come across onto the trail itself. So I mean, and it's just a big scar, and you see that scar for about 5 kilometers all the way to the lookout on the east side of the Apostles, where the sign for the Great Ocean Walk on the ground is there. So it went all the way to there. And that's just a big eyesore. So I mean, sort of takes you out of your element when you see this big giant bit of carnage that they've put through there. So that's a bit of a disappointment. That's a shame that that's happened there. I mean, I don't know, that's just really bad. You're literally against water, and then right next to you is this big scar. So there's this really thin strip now that the track's on, so you can't hide it. So that's really poor. I mean, yeah, look, there's a few things, like a lot of the lookouts, if you came up out of the bottom and came back up to the roads, up to lookouts, and came back down, I mean, it's just a mess. They need to do something there. Vic Parks have to do something at all the lookouts, because people have literally turned the walking trail that we're on, our walking trail, they've turned it into a toilet 100 meters in either direction of their access point into the lookout. And it's just like, not a little bit, a lot each time. It's just, oh, it's horrendous. It's so gross walking through there. So I don't know, they need to put in some they need to put some long drop toilets in or something at the lookouts, just to stop that from happening, because that's terrible. And that was even the lookout next to, like, the one with the sign with the Great Ocean Walk sign at the end, the Apostles End. That lookout there, it was there as well. And it's like, the Apostles are only another 1.5k along, and their information centers there with toilets. I mean, why do you have to do that there? It's just, anyway. Hopefully Vic Parks know that's a thing that's going on, and they can do something about it, because it's so bad. It's just disgusting. It's just, ugh. I mean, it was basically a latrine. That's what it was in the end. So it was really gross. So yeah, they fixed those bits up. Happy days for everybody else. So that'd be great, especially for the walkers. They have to come through there. Imagine coming through there when it was bloody summertime with that going on. Oh my gosh. Anyway. Anyway. Oh. Yeah, so that was about it. Gear wise, the gear was pretty much the same as what I usually run, except for I did run the Durston X Dome 2. And if I have my way, I won't run that again. I'll go back to my trekking pole X Mid Pro 2, because that's just way quicker to put up and simpler. I'm much happier with that, even if it's got a little bit less space. I mean, you don't get it wrong, the X Dome is luxurious inside, but it just takes too long, and it's twice as heavy. It's 1200 grams, whereas the X Mid is only 600. So I would swap that out. But my kitchen is the kitchen that I used on the Human Hovel, which I didn't use last year on the Alps track, and I regretted it for the whole 20 something days I was on it, that I should have taken that one. So I went back to it, and it's fine. It's the Fire Maple G3 pot, so it's got a heat dispenser on the bottom, so you know you don't get hot spots. I mean, the handle's fantastic. It's not a Tokes, butterfly handle on the side. This actually goes down, clicks, and you can turn this upside down, do what you like with it. So it's quite sturdy. And then And I just have the flame torch from Fire Maple as well, which is a 3-pronged stove, which is, fits perfectly underneath, and that's quite wind resistant because it gets up so much, it gets so tight to the bottom of the pot that the heat dispense actually acts as a windbreak. So it was really good. It was windy every night on the walk, and its boil is so fast. So I think I'll just stick to that from now on. I'll only switch out the stove from now on. So if I'm going somewhere where I require a pressure regulator, then I'll swap it out. But everywhere else that I don't require one, which will be everywhere other than high altitude, then I'll just stick to the one that I've got now, because it's very simple. Has its own light, has its own igniter, so I don't have to fight with matches that don't light like I did last year. I just click and away it goes, and that's really, it was actually really good. It didn't fault at any point in time, which the lighters every now and then will fail, but this one, it runs really well. I've never had it drop out anytime. It lights instantly all the time, so I will stick with that. And then my trusty old pillow got a hole in it, which I think I said to you guys, it got a hole in it. That was on the first night. Lucky I had my puffy and I could use that as my pillow. So anyway, I've bought a replacement, the exact same one, because I loved it so much. So it's only a 40-gram Cedar Summit ultralight pillow. So I've got my replacement already, so happy days. And I used the Nev Waratah -2 degree quilt, and that was way plenty. I was warm, had leg out most nights, arms above my head. It was really warm, but it was really good. I really like the way it cinches to your mattress. You can roll around inside it and it just stays in place, and it has nice little clips that you can pop. You don't have to slide its support down around the mattress. You can just go around and clip underneath, and it's really quick. So I looked at it when I first got it, and I went, oh, I think this is a bit overkill, but actually it worked really well. So I was really happy with how that went. So a nice little system, really well put together. But I think that's it. I did not bring anything else new. I think everything was the same as last year. So still using the same pack, my same Durston Kakwa 55 pack. It's going well, and I just ran it the same way, same system. 2 1 litres, 1 700ml bottle up front, and that's the way we went, and that was fine. That worked well. Same filter system as last year. In fact, it is the filter system from last year, which still has a great flow, because it really wasn't too bad up in the Alps last year. I wasn't getting heaps of sediment, so even with preconditioning it here, which I do with my filters before I go out, so they're actually wet before I go, there was nothing that was coming out. It was really clean. So and even back flushing when I got home, it's still super clean. So there wasn't even any sediment on this, but it's from the tank. The tank water was quite I mean, you got gums everywhere, so there's quite a tea colour to it, but the flavours weren't that bad. The filter took a lot of the colour out, so it actually was quite good. So that was fine. So that's about it. That'll be the end of this series. The way work's going at the moment, it's way hard for me to get out and do anything decent anywhere. So I'm gonna change up what I have been doing, and I'm gonna sneak out and do 3-4 day walks over weekends with a day off here and there to allow me to do it. So there'll probably be more that you find on the feed from now on. It'll be that sort of thing, just for a little while until, you know, we're less busy. When that'll be, I don't know, because it's been like this now for 4 years. and it's getting busier, so let's see. But anyway, I will probably have stuff, I'll have more stuff this year, because I will being able to sneak out and do, you know, 3-day multi-walks, you know, every few months, then we'll add them in. So that'll be, you won't have to wait till next year for a big decent walk. They may happen next year, who knows, but in between I'm going to do a lot of shorter walks, lesser known walks that people don't really know. I'll probably do that sort of stuff. So let's see how we go. Means I can pack lighter, I don't have to carry as much stuff. So, you know, light food bags, a lot of stuff that you need for a week, 2 weeks when you're out, you don't need, because you're only out for 3 days, so you can leave that stuff at home. So light and fast, that'll be what they're like. So I'll do that, eh? All right, everybody, I think that'll be about it. I just rambled. I don't even know what I said to you, so let me watch this back and see if it was worth the effort. All right, all, take it easy, and I'll see you in the next one. See you guys.